And now, last but not the least, may I request Younghee Jung, who will be sharing a perspective on consumer insights and how that translates into Nokia design. My friends, the applause. Come on. Thank you.
She's a bully, isn't she? Nice meeting you. I'm Younghee. I'm originally from South Korea. I've been working for Nokia for about 9 years in Finland and Japan, and I finally moved to London last year. I was quite tempted to kind of peek over your shoulder to all the Twitter streams and Facebook streams that you are having. A bit jealous as well that you have all your laptops with you now. I specialize in explorative design research, meaning if you want to ask me about new products in the market, I may not know even the product names, but you can ask me about other aspects, how people use mobile phones or what's coming up in the future. When I first moved to London, one of the difficult things for me was how people greet each other. In Asia, where I come from, it's quite simple, just bowing or making a handshake. In London, I saw some Indian people do it here as well. If you're close to someone, you do air kissing, and you don't necessarily know how many. There doesn't seem to be any standard of how many times you are supposed to do air kissing. So once I experienced it, I was expecting doing once with my friend's mother, and she was expecting to do two. So I almost kissed her on the lips. So ever since, I try to avoid doing air kissing as much as possible. My topic is natural interaction. It's a recent project that we are doing. And we don't really talk about natural interaction with other human beings. But we started to talk about that with technology because finally it's becoming really mature enough to understand what our intentions are, what our natural expressions are. We are all computer geeks. Well, oops, I shouldn't say geeks. You're very knowledgeable about technology, but do you remember your first encounter with computer? Any episode to share? You're nodding, I saw.
I would tell I would say the 7650, which was the first Symbian device that I played with. And I remember there was this application called Photographer on it. And that was the first time smartphones had come. And the thing about the application was you could have those masks, and then you could align the camera to click a picture of the person with the mask. So you could make a person a clown or something like that. and back in maybe 7 or 8 years back, that was exceptional. And that was technology which I instantly fell in love with Symbian that day. So that
So
would...
your love story with a phone. My colleague shared a story of his first encounter with a computer. He watched this science fiction called Electric Dreams. And he went to the pharmacy called Boots in London. And there was a computer he saw for the first time. So he sat down, he typed in hello in the computer with a keyboard. And he sat still there, expecting the computer to say hello back. And the computer, of course, didn't reply. So he was very disappointed. What comes natural to us as a human being, such as facial expressions, we almost have to make a conscious effort not to reveal too much through our faces because that's how we are designed to express ourselves. But for technology like this robotic cats, to mimic what we consider really natural, like facial expressions, is not such an easy job for engineers. And our body language plays a very important part in our communication. And some gestures are quite universal. So placing finger in front of your lips is quite universally accepted as, understood as, be quiet. And this was taken by American tourists in Taiwan. Some gestures are very culturally specific. So these were taken in Tokyo, and two businessmen trying to exchange business cards. And they are actually holding business card with two hands and bowing at the same time and trying to lower their hands below the other person's hand to show their respect. It's probably a very familiar scene for Japanese people, but if you are not used to that culture, it's like, what are they doing? What are they struggling so much, trying to hold their stuff and give the business card at the same time? Some gestures are quite popular or really famous. You know, what does this mean? Victory. So this is a sign that became really popular after Churchill won the Second World War, meaning victory, and some people do say it actually means now peace. This is a picture of Nixon after he won the election in 1960s. So that gesture really lived through, meaning victory. But then it also traveled through geography. This was recently taken photos in Laos and in Taiwan. If you ask them, if you could, they wouldn't say they are doing this because they won something or they won peace. It became a kind of generic pose for posing for a photograph in Asia for some reason, and nobody really understands why and how it's got spread like this. Oh, talking about new gestures coming into our lives, sometimes the popular products or new technology can bring about new gestures. So if you remember, if you ever used a landline phone, have you used landline phone? I haven't been using landline for the last 9 years. But if you remember how you would indicate, call me, or I will call you, how would you do it? So I remember it used to be this, or this. So it did require 2 hands before mobile phone times, because it did require. But nowadays, with mobile phone, it did become this action. So we did a research project. So another example of gesture, left one is a kind of complicated handshake ritual in Ghana. And on the right side, it was taken from our user research session, asking people about what natural gestures you can think of when you're interacting with mobile phones. There's a similarity, and of course, we cannot really predefine what natural means for people, because mobile phone is essentially a new object in their life, especially when we are introducing new features. But we wanted to find out what would be the kind of design principle for us to design mobile gestures, as we are expecting a lot will be coming in the future as sensors are becoming cheaper, technology and algorithm development is becoming more advanced. So there are more likelihood that engineers and designers together can create something quite amazing or quite different from what we perceived so far as mobile phone interaction. Because people wake up with a phone and go to sleep with a phone. It's a very intimate object. It plays somewhere between a fashion item almost, part of our body, to a technology product. So we want to make sure that there is a next step that it's not necessarily providing a new feature, but we want to make sure that people can use it in a more natural and different ways, providing an option. So